Hello everyone, this is Priyanshu Gupta here. This is going to be an amazing video because in this video we are going to integrate Django channels to our Django project so as to use WebSockets to update our front end again and again, to send the real-time stock update, the real-time stock data again and again to the front side after regular intervals, so that users can keep a track of real stock updates. And those who are new to my channel, I want to tell you that we have started our series, that is Livestock Tracker app, using Django channels, Celery and Redis. You can check out that playlist on my channel. And if you like the content, then you can subscribe my channel as well. So now let's start this amazing fourth part of the series. So till now we have seen how we can get the real-time data of stocks using that Yahoo Fin library of Python. And then we have also integrated Celery with our Django project to run a background task that after regular intervals, it will call that third-party API to retrieve that data. All right. So now what we want is we want WebSockets to actually send that data that has been retrieved by Celery to the front side, to the client side, right? And currently you can see that this data that we have shown here is not changing automatically, right? So to update this data automatically, we need WebSockets so that server can automatically contact the user by its own. There is no need of a request from user, and then the server will send the response for that request. Because once the WebSocket connection has been established between user and server, then there is a two-way communication. Anyone can communicate on its own. So for adding that WebSocket functionality in our Django project, we will have to use Django channels library. So now we will integrate Django channels with our Django project, and then we will use it to send the data that has been retrieved by Celery worker, because that Celery worker is calling that API after regular intervals, and currently we have set it to be 10, but you can change that according to your own. And then after every 10 seconds it will call that third party API, and we will use WebSockets to send that data to front side. And we also want that at least there should be one user on our website, only then Celery worker will work. And also if two users have some common stocks that they have selected, then we will not call separate API for that stocks. We will basically try to reduce the number of third-party API calls, because if you are using any subscription plan, then it may increase your cost. Now let's first add Django channels to our Django project. For that we will have to install channels. So pip install channels. And now we will actually have to switch from this WSDI server to ASDI server, right? So now this ASDI.py will come into role. Okay, now this WSDI.py we will not use, we will actually use this ASDI.py file. Okay, so for adding Django channels, I will open the documentation because that will reduce our time. Otherwise, I will have to code everything. From there, I can copy paste the code and integrate Django channels immediately, right? And then we will have to add this channels inside our installed apps. So installed apps, and let's minimize this. So here we are, installed apps. We will have to add channels here, channels, and then we will have to add certain things in ASDI.py file. So ASDI.py file is here. Here we will have to copy all this stuff. Let's paste it here, right? Control save. Then we will have to add this ASDI application inside settings.py. And here we will have to write stock project. Control save. Then I think it's done. We have added the channels inside our Django project as well. But now we will have to create some more files here inside our main app, that is consumers.py, then routing.py, Then we will have to add this inside our routing.py. Let's paste it here. And here we want the URL for that as stock. And in Django channels, when we make a WebSocket connection, it basically consists of two entities. One is group and channel. Channel is basically specific to a user who wants to make a socket connection with the server, WebSocket connection with the server. So one channel, a unique channel ID will be allocated to this user, and he will be added to a group in which we can add some more users as well. Suppose user 1, user 2. So now here we will make a common group. Let's name it a stock group, in which all the users will be added here, and they can see the live stock update, because we will send the data that we have received from third party. This Celery will send the data to this group. It will broadcast the data to all these users through WebSocket. Okay, so this is how our channels or WebSockets will work here, using groups and channels. So here we have successfully added the URL pattern, and here we will change this consumer to stock consumer, because we will make a new consumer here, right? .asdi, and inside this consumers.py we will make one new consumer here. So let's copy the code here from, and we will basically create a async WebSocket consumer. So if you want to know about this sync and async WebSocket consumer, then you can check out my course, the revolutionary course. And I created that course only because in future I had plans that I will make some advanced Django projects. And if you want to understand those projects and you want to make those projects by yourself, you will have to understand the concepts. And if you don't know the concepts, then how will you make these projects by your own? So that's why I have already made the course, the revolutionary course, on my channel. I had given all my efforts in that course, so that course is a must. Okay, you should definitely check that out. After you have made this stock project successfully, then you can check out that course. That will help you to grasp the concepts, like how this WSDI, ASDI is working, and what is async, what is sync. So you can definitely check that out. And we want this one, and we will copy this whole code here and paste it here. And here we will change name to stock consumer, and here we will change the group name to stock. And then group add, okay, connection, then connect, then disconnect, okay. And then we will create one more function here, that is this one. Let's name it stock update, and here type, we will mention the function that will actually send the data to that WebSocket. So basically what will happen is Celery will use one broadcast method and send the data to this group, to which all the users will be connected. And then we will use this function that is called as stock update, because for each user one separate object will be created here that is specific to that user WebSocket connection. And then we will call this stock update function from that object to send that data to the user. Okay, user 1, then from this it will send user 2, user 3, and so on. So now here we will update the data here, and stock update, it's great. And what we want here is that as soon as someone makes a WebSocket connection on our website, like as soon as someone goes on this page, then one WebSocket connection will be established between user and server. Until that WebSocket connection persists and not broke, till that time we will add those stocks in the Celery worker task, and till that time Celery will call the third-party APIs to retrieve the data for that stocks. And before we actually write the code here in Connect, let's first make a WebSocket connection between user and server. Okay, So for that, we will have to add certain thing in our template that we created earlier. So here we have the file of templates. Then inside the stock tracker.html file, we will have to add the socket connection using JavaScript here. Here we will write script and let's change it to then inside the script we will have to add this, that is const room name and json dot parse document dot get element by id room name. We will pass this room name in the context data to the front end. Room name dot text, then variable query string window dot location dot search, because we want to retrieve all the stocks that we have mentioned here inside this URL, right? So windows dot location dot search, we will parse all those arguments here to query string, and then query string equals query string dot substring 1, and then we will console dot log query string, then const stock socket. Now we will actually make a socket connection, new WebSocket, and here we will mention the URL that we have mentioned inside this routing.py, that is ws stock. So here we will have to mention first the ws, then windows dot location dot host, then slash ws slash stock, room name that we will parse from context data, and then we will again pass all the arguments that we have received from query string to the WebSocket, right? So here we will pass the query string. Okay, so as soon as someone opens this page, live stock tracker app, one WebSocket connection will be established between user and server, and then server can communicate on its own. And now we will have to send that group name in context data. So for that we will have to open this views.py, and inside this context data we will add the room name, and let's name it as track. So our full group name will be stock track, right? So stock track, control save, and now if I refresh this page here and inspect element, okay, we will have to start the server here, and now you can see that instead of WSDI we have started the ASDI server, that is Daphne server, right? So now if I refresh this page in console, you can see that okay, so document.getElement by id is null. If I open the stock tracker, okay, we will have to first add that in our template also, right? We will have to add the room name received from context data in our template itself, right? So we will add that using room name, then JSON script room name, right? Control save. And now if I refresh this page, and the name of this is consumers, not, we will have to add this n here. Okay, it's window. Okay, it's window. Control save. And now if I refresh this page, Firefox can't establish a connection to the server at this. Now we will have to add one new thing inside our asgi.py file, that is here, because currently we were only handling the HTTP protocol, but now we will have to add one WebSocket protocol also. So for that we have WebSocket, and we will use auth middleware stack. For that we will have to use this from channels.auth import auth middleware stack, and then auth middleware stack, and then URL router, WebSocket URL patterns, and we will have to again import that from routing.py, from main app dot routing import WebSocket URL patterns, WebSocket URL patterns, and here control save. And now if I refresh this page here, okay, so now we will have to add one more thing inside our settings.py, that is channel layer. Here we will again use Redis as a channel layer. So basically here channel layer will act as a storage, because it will store all the details regarding groups and channels. So for adding the channel layer, you will have to add this, which I am adding here, this thing, and then you will have to close this, control save. And one more thing you will have to add, that is channels Redis. So pip install channels Redis, and once it is installed, we will again start the server. And then if I refresh this page, you can see that WebSocket handshaking is there, and then WebSocket connect. So now a WebSocket connection has been established between user and server, and now that server can send data automatically to this. So now how this server will send the data to front end, that we have to configure. So now currently we have added that task inside Slurry beat schedule, but we don't want that, right? So inside this slurry.py, we will comment this, because we don't want this automatic schedule. What we want is, we want dynamic schedule, so that we can add or delete that schedule from that table that has been created by this Slurry beat inside our Django admin panel. We will dynamically add and delete the task from that periodic task table inside our database. So how to do that? Let's see that. Now what we want is, as soon as user connects to this WebSocket, then we want certain things to happen, right? So here inside this connect method, we will add certain things, like we will add one new task inside our Slurry beat schedule, so that it can tell Slurry to do that. So let's do that. So first we want to parse that query string, right? So for parsing that, parse query string, and for parsing that query string, we will use query params, and inside this we will use one function that is called as parse qs, and for that you will have to import one more module from url lib dot parse import parse qs, and then parse qs self dot scope query string dot decode, and we will also check that it's that we are able to retrieve that query string here or not by printing that query params, then stock picker equals to query params stock picker, and then we will add this argument inside our Celery beat and create the task. Okay, so here we will create one new task here. So here we will have to make we will have to perform one Django ORM operation, because we will have to add a new record in that database table. So for performing that Django ORM operation, we cannot perform that directly inside this async function, right? So we will have to create one more synchronous function here. Let's say define add to Celery beat and we will have to use one new function here, that is sync to async. So from, because if we are calling one synchronous function inside async, then we will have to use one adapter function, that is sync to async dot sync import sync to async, and let's also import one async to sync also, because we will have to use this async to sync also later on. Add to Celery beat, and we will wrap this function inside this adapter function, that is @sync to async add to Celery beat, and here we will pass two arguments, self comma stock picker, and here task equals to. Now what we want is, we want to make some changes inside this periodic task model, so we will have to import that model also from Django Celery beat dot models import periodic task and interval schedule. Now periodic task dot objects dot filter meme equals to every 10 seconds, because this is the task that we create. Then if len of task is greater than 0, it means that task is already existing inside this. So if someone tries to make a WebSocket connection now, then we will, instead of creating a new task, we will add those arguments, add those stocks inside the task argument itself, so that now Celery will call the APIs for those new stocks as well. Now we will do task dot first args json dot loads task dot args equals args 0 for x in stock picker, if x not in args dot append x, then task.args equals json.dumps, and then args. And this json.dumps is important because we have to dump that data inside that Slurry bit arguments, right? So now task.save. Else what we'll have to do is we will have to create this task again, right? If we have removed that task, then we will have to add that task inside that table, and then we will have to update this args argument inside that. Then schedule comma created equals interval schedule dot objects dot get or create every 10 period interval schedule dot seconds, then task periodic task objects dot create interval schedule name every 10 seconds, then task equals main app dot tasks dot update stock, and args equals to json dot dumps stock picker. And after we have successfully added that task inside that periodic task table, then Slurry bit schedule will tell Slurry to perform that task, right? So it's done now. Now what we can do is we can call this add to Slurry bit inside this async connect function, right? So here we will have to call this using await add to Slurry, self dot add to Slurry bit, right? And here, and we will have to pass the argument as well, that is stock picker. So currently let's not focus on removing that task. Let's first see that we are able to retrieve that data in front end or not, right? So for sending that data to front end, what we will have to do is we will have to move to this tasks file, right? Task file in which we are retrieving the data from third-party API, and inside this we will have to send the data to WebSockets, right, to group. So for that we will have to import this from channels dot layers, import get channel layer, and inside this, after getting all the data here, we will have to send data to group. For that we will have to retrieve the channel layer, get channel layer loop equals to async io dot new event loop, because basically the function through which we send data to group is basically an asynchronous function. So now currently we are running this function inside a Slurry worker, and currently it has no event loop. Okay, so for adding the event loop we will have to use this. We will have to use async io module, import async io, right? And now I think we will have to install that module also, pip install async io, and now we have installed. And now import async io, then async io dot new event loop. Basically we have to create one new event loop inside this. If you want to know about more functions of this async io module, then you can check out the official documentation. I will provide the link for that in the description box of this video. And also I have added all the videos in my course, that is the revolutionary course. In that I have explained all about asynchronous programming, multi-threading, multi-processing, and async to sync, sync to async. All things have been covered. If you are facing any issue here, like if you have any doubts here, like how this module is working, then please check out that course, that is the revolutionary course. So here we have created one new event loop, and now we will set that event loop inside our thread. Okay, set event loop and then loop, and after we have started the loop in the thread, then we will allocate the task to this loop, run until complete, because we want this task to be completed, and then we proceed further. Channel layer dot group send, and here the group name is stock track, right? And here comma, then type, and send stock update, and then message. The message is data that we have received, right? And currently it's in dictionary format also, but while we actually send the data to users through their specific channels, then we will have to convert this data to JSON, and we will use the command json.dumps. So now control save, right? Run until complete, set event loop, and it's good. And now once and after it calls this function, that is group send, then we will have to receive here. We will have to receive here inside this. So basically this receive function receive all the data or all the messages that has been passed to group. So now this receive function will receive that data, and then we will have to perform certain changes here, and then we will call this function, that is stock update, which will actually send the data to that WebSocket or that user, right? And here let's first send all the data to all the users. Let's not filter now the stocks that are specific to that user. Currently let's broadcast all the data that we have received, even though those stocks have not been selected by the user, but then also we will broadcast some extra stocks that have been chosen by some other users as well. Currently our main focus is to check that data is coming in front end or not, to client side or not. So now we have message here, and then we will send that data using this self.send and json.dumps, and let's remove this, right? Let's remove this right now. And it's good to go, right? So let's start our server, and before you start the Celery worker, you should delete all the tasks here. So if you have any task here, then it may lead to certain errors. So to remove those errors, let's delete all those tasks here. So let's delete the task here, delete, go, I'm sure, and then in intervals also you should delete this record as well to prevent any errors, right? Then in home you will have to remove this task results as well. So select all, yes, I'm sure, and then now let's start, right? Now let's start this Celery worker and the Celery bit as well. Now you can see that currently no task, but as soon as I refresh this page here, then you can see that we have successfully made a socket connection with our project, with our Django project. And now we can see that there is one event, that is database scheduler, and now schedule has been changed. So now if I go here and refresh this, you can see one new record has been created here. And now if I move down, you can see the arguments, and here arguments are those that we have selected here, right? So here after some time we will see some data here. And currently we are not able to see any data here because we have not configured that in our template, right? So now we will have to go to template. Inside our template, that is stock tracker.html file. Here inside this, we will have to create one more event that as soon as it receives some event through WebSockets, as soon as it receives any message from WebSockets, then it will console.log here. So for that, we will have to add one event here, that is stock socket dot on message. On message equals to function e then console.log e.data, and basically we will have to do json.parse to actually retrieve that data, right? And we will also console.log data as well. Control save. And now if I start the workers here, and now if I refresh the server here, unexpected token, okay, we don't need this. If I refresh this, now after some time you will see certain things here. We will see data here. Send stock update, no handler for that. Let's go to tasks. It is send update stock only. And inside our consumers, we have function here. We have to choose send here, send stock update. Okay, send stock update, right? And now if I refresh this page here, our Celery worker is running already. And now let's see we are getting some data over here or not, because we have also used console.log to print the data here. And yes, we are getting here. You can see all the data is coming over here. But now we will have to use some JavaScript to place that data in correct format inside this table. And here we are also getting one json.parse error. Let's see what it is. Let's stop that Celery worker here, because it will keep on calling that third-party API. json.parse e.data. So basically we are getting error here. And yes, the problem is of this, that is nan. Basically this nan value is not accepted in JSON. Basically what we will have to do is we will have to convert this nan to null in backend and then send the data to frontend. Otherwise we will receive error while we are doing json.parse, because in JSON this nan value is not accepted. So we will have to remove this nan and replace this with null. So for that we will have to use one library that is called as simple JSON. Okay, simple JSON. So we will install one library here, that is pip install simple JSON, and then we will add that inside our tasks.py where we are actually retrieving that data. So import simple JSON as JSON, right? And here when we are actually calling that third-party API using this stock picker, using this get code table, we will have to add certain things here. So what we will do is we will first use json.dumps, right? json.dumps, and inside this json.dumps we will use ignore nan equals to true, ignore nan, and then we will again do json.loads, because currently we want format in dictionary format only. As soon as we do json.dumps, then it will bind the data and convert that into string format. json.loads and then done. Okay, so now I think it will work perfectly fine. And now if I start the server here, and also Celery worker, and refresh this page. Then let's see we will get some data here or not. Again we are getting no handler for message type send update stock, but we have already added that, right? Inside our consumer it's send stock update, right? In task.py, send stock update, control save. Here we don't have to use stock, here we will have to continue using send only. Okay, so here we will have to continue using send only. I had replaced it with stock, but we will have to use send here, and we will have to pass this send stock update inside this task also. Okay, send stock update. And now if I refresh all the things here and start worker, Celery wheat, and if I refresh this page here, then let's see we are getting a good outcome here or not. And here we are getting the outcome successfully, right? And let's wait for some more outcome as well. So let's see. Yeah, we are getting here outcome after 10 seconds here. So this is working perfectly fine, right? This is working perfectly fine. So that's it for this video. In next video we will see how we can add this data inside this table in proper format, and how we can use disconnect method in consumer so that we can actually remove those stocks that we are currently having inside that argument of Celery task. How can we use this disconnect method? Like as soon as user breaks the connection, we will basically remove those stocks that has been selected by that user. So we will see that in next video. That's it for this video, and please don't forget to tell your views regarding this series or video in the comment section box of this video. I hope you have liked this video, and if you did, then please press that like button and do subscribe to my channel, because I'm making such type of videos frequently. And if you have some more queries or doubts and want a personal assistance, then you can ping me anytime on my Instagram handle. Stay tuned, stay connected. See you in the next video.